Oh, you didn't know? Welcome back to another episode of the LTS Wrestling Podcast. It's me. It's that NI-double-C, and I'm joined by Jasper and Jojo here today. What's going on, fellas?
Let's get it.
What's up, gentlemen? Good evening, and what's up to everyone out there, all of our viewers, supporters. Thank you again for joining us for another episode. Guys, we're here together to talk a couple weeks after, but nonetheless, WrestleMania 42 Las Vegas. And there's a lot that happened since then, so let's just get right into it. So, 2 nights, Vegas hosting WrestleMania for 2 years in a row, Allegiant Stadium, and seemed like there was a lot of mixed emotions or mixed feedback regarding this whole PLE, right? And before we kind of like go into the details, to be fair, everyone's obviously entitled to their own opinion. And I think with our panel here, we did get different perspectives of the actual PLE, specifically because a few of us were watching it live on ESPN. But on the other hand, I myself happened to have the privilege of being there live at Allegiant Stadium for both nights. So we'll kind of speak a little bit on that part of it. But at the same time, clearly 2 nights stacked with a lot of different matches, clearly headlined by some big names. Let's go right off the first night here. Night 1, WrestleMania 42, right? Headlined by Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Kind of had a little bit of that whole Pat McAfee interjected into this whole storyline. A little bit of Jelly Roll as well. But what did you guys think? How did this match come off to you guys?
I really felt like Pat McAfee just could have not played a role at all in the match. Initially, I was kind of upset at first that Randy Orton didn't win the title. But with him punting Cody at the end, I was like, okay. They're kind of giving me kind of what I wanted. You know what I mean? I did want a longer story with them, which is cool. You know what I mean? I asked for it. I asked for a longer story. If they're going to give it to me, not exactly the way I wanted it, but it's a longer story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here for it. Cool. But as we've seen, well, I didn't see it on Friday. I personally didn't get to see SmackDown yet, but I saw that Gunther is now going after Cody, right? Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong?
You are right.
See, well, so I don't even know if Randy's in the picture anymore. So it's like, it's one of those things, right? Where's Randy now? But yeah, I thought Randy was going to continue to pursue Cody and maybe dig his heels even deeper into his heel persona, because I felt like Randy wasn't, not that he wasn't fully committed to being heel Randy, but we've seen him dig deeper as a heel. You know what I mean? Like we've seen him go lower than what he did with Cody throughout this, what it was like 4-week feud as him as a bad guy. We've seen him dig way deeper as a heel. So I mean, if he was gonna be a bad guy, like I wanted him to be a little bit more bad. And if they were gonna give us a longer story, then I was kind of here for it. I felt like Pat McAfee, Jelly Roll, like were totally like didn't even have to be a part of the segment. But you know what? If they had to be in there, at least it was only a short period of time, and it was at the very beginning of the match. And then Pat McAfee came in later. It is what it is. It was whatever. You know what I mean? Then I guess. And that it was okay. It was okay. Not the greatest match, but it was okay. I thought it was okay.
It could have all made sense. It could have all, since they wanted to tie in the Jelly Roll, they wanted to tie in Pat. It could have all made sense, especially when he came back out as the referee, and he needed one. Randy, I'm talking about Randy needed one. We could have went for the 1, 2, 3. He could have got the 15, and you could have still tied in Gunther, and Gunther still could have just retired the man or whatever if you wanted to send him out. You went and do all this for no reason. So I'm kind of fired up about it. I knew it could have never been a banger, but it could have been a banger. You punted him. You did all like what Iron Man said. Everything I was asking for from you, you was over there delivering, only to still give him the W. Why? Because you could have topped it off. So yes, I had to run it back, and then okay, McAfee. Hey, that was a great implementation. Jelly roll, boom, off the table. Oh, that was a great. You got him out there, and then Randy was doing his thing. Giving me life about giving me flashbacks about the Randy I wanted. And then right when Pat came out with the referee uniform, I was like, okay, he's gonna get his 15 right there, dude. He's gonna get his 15 because that's how you gotta get it. And then bro, I thought he was gonna give it to Randy, but no, Randy went and RKO'd him. For why did you do that? Like, so that's where it became unnecessary. So I was just like, you went through all that, gave me all that hope just to give Cody the W. After you punted off, you did everything I was asking for. I thought he was going to get the 15 as soon as Pat came out as the referee. I was like, yep, there it goes. Right there. We're slithering, vipering right into that. Boom. No. So I was kind of pissed about that. It could have made sense. It could have. We could have tied it all in and said, oh, yeah, that part, good. You know what I mean? No. But yeah, man, that one, it could have been greater than what it was, man. So, and it sucks to hear the truth might be like, where are we going to tie in Randy now? Where? When it's going to be the Goon and the Nightmare. So, yeah, it could have been greater, man. It could have been greater. It's good because I'm selfish for him. That's why I'm selfish. Like, what you go punt him for?
Right. One of the things that I kind of question about after all of that too was like, what was the point of Pat McAfee like spewing out that whole, Randy Orton, one of the last guys from this specific era, bringing back old school wrestling, saying his name in a specific type of cadence, and like bringing back all of this kind of like all these kind of like nostalgia stuff, right? And I was wondering what was the reasoning for all of that, right? Because when we watch wrestling, there's there's always meaning into specific ways of doing things, and I was wondering after Randy lost, what was the reasoning for all of that, for leading us on that way? And I just I was confused after it. You know what I mean? Like they felt nonsensical.
Right. No, I think personally from the outcome of this match, I myself didn't understand the reasons for having McAfee, Jelly Roll into this whole mix. Not to get ahead of myself, because I know we kind of understand the outcome of where Cody's next feud is heading into, but I thought that the way it had ended, specifically on night one, where Randy had punted Cody, we could have seen this continue on, right? Um, and I think they have so much history that this could have probably carried itself into SummerSlam, for that matter. And it almost seems as if it's not going to happen now, because we have Gunther kind of interjecting himself into this whole SmackDown roster, chasing Cody's title. So yeah, it is kind of disappointing. Not even kind of. I'll be brutally honest here. It's just flat out disappointing to see that we had a potential. How should I say? It was definitely one of those things we look forward to since Cody had returned back to WWE, because of the history with Legacy and Orton being on the back end of his career. Clearly, he is. He's only got so much more time, and to see that this actual rivalry, it just feel like the payoff was so weak, right? Um, and it's interesting because when you constantly see a lot of the criticism dealing with TKO's involvement, specifically with the way they've interjected celebrities and other outside wrestling talent, it's it's almost for the clicks, the attention, the likes, with no longevity purpose to it. And it's unfortunate. And Nick, we were kind of talking about this on the side, right? Like, it just seems that the whole, platform of WWE being owned by TKO has turned into purely a stage for actual athletes, collegiate athletes, celebrities to be incorporated into this whole business. And the whole aspect of pro wrestling is slowly transitioned out to be purely sports entertainment, right? And it's interesting because there was a moment of when we saw the transition from Vince McMahon to Triple H. And it almost seemed like there was a slight hope in the transition of Triple H really putting back pro wrestling and a lot more of what we appreciate about pro wrestling back into the mix of WWE. And it seemed to be doing well. And a lot of the criticism of it just being purely sports entertainment seemed to have subsided a bit. Not saying they lost their identity, but I think with their whole collaboration with ESPN, they also have their partnerships with like Fanatics, purely like these big sports companies. It almost seems as if they have molded WWE to be a lot more sports entertainment centric with the involvement of outsiders, right? So I didn't mean to go off into a tangent here, but looping it back into this whole Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes piece, I think this was a great example of that happening because they didn't need it, but TKO felt compelled to include these two individuals into the mix when, if you're purely a hardcore wrestling fan and you understand the story between Cody and Randy, there was clearly no reason for their involvement. And I truly believe that. So the way this ended, yeah, it's a head scratcher because we don't know exactly what the big payoff is here, especially with Randy Orton, right? Because now Randy's just kind of like been seemingly pushed aside where Gunther is kind of like intervened. But we'll see, right?
Right. So like what's the big payoff for it? Is Randy even gonna stick around?
Right.
Is he gonna move on to another feud with somebody else and we're just gonna kind of forget that he punted Cody? Is Cody not gonna pursue? Like, cause I mean personally, like if I was a guy with a world title, I mean, regardless if I was a champion and I won, somebody kicked me in the face, I'd be like, nah, screw that, dude. We're running that back. We're running that back, bro. You're not kicking me in the face, and I'm not trying to get my hits back. You know what I mean? We're gonna run that one more time, and I don't care if my title's on the line. We're running that back one more time.
Right.
So I mean,
maybe it comes back down the road. I don't know. Right? Like hopefully they somehow cross paths again.
Right. And I hate that. The thing I hate is that they're leaning on the fact that they're assuming that the WWE universe is assuming that they're gonna remember the feeling that they had
from Mania.
Right. And it's just, I don't know if people are gonna care enough by the time it happens. Cause it may happen like a year from now. You know what I mean? Like they may drag it out to be like, let's revisit it at Mania next year. And let's just
I've
run it
said
back.
this before too. Like, if they weren't gonna do it now, I don't know. Like, even if you was gonna do it
You
later,
did.
it
You
took it.
did.
Yeah, it's
You
just
did.
like it didn't. It's not gonna hit. I hope it still hits when they do it, but
Yeah.
this was the
But
perfect time, but I guess not.
this is the only thing I could make an excuse for. Maybe the real the reason why they're not pushing this forward with Randy is because he's so over as a babyface. And it's just hard for him to be the heel that. And the only thing I can think of is when John Cena was heel during his last year, right? Like, even though he was supposed to be the heel and he's trying to portray the heel, people just kept cheering for them. They
You could
they
still
could
be an
not.
anti-hero. Oh, what is it? What do
Right,
y'all say?
right,
Anti-hero.
yeah,
Yeah,
like an
yeah,
anti-hero.
yeah, anti-hero.
But still, he was still like a true baby face. Like, no matter how much Stone Cold was supposed to be the bad guy against Bret Hart,
Yeah.
people were still cheering for him like he was the baby face, right? And I think that's where the problem lies with this whole situation, where they clearly have Cody as their baby face of the company, right? And they're trying to put him against a heel Randy Orton, and it's not getting over. So that's the only logical thing I can think of. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't make any sense to me. I felt like they had something. They could have rolled with it.
Yeah,
So,
I think they could have. I think they could have too. I think there could have been definitely a long-term storytelling with Cody and Randy. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Even if it culminated with Cody getting it back at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they never,
Yeah.
even if they never intended for Randy to have it long term.
Yeah, I like that. I so wish
You
they
know,
would have
right?
went that way.
Maybe have a series. Let them have a series of matches leading up to SummerSlam, or maybe even over only like 2 or 3 months,
Yeah.
and then have Cody come out on top.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean? Just, I think killing it off after one match. I think that's so.
Poorly
Man,
executed.
yeah. It's such a poorly executed program. And if they, and I think, and like I said, I think if they choose to visit it later, I think that's a poor choice to rely on the fact that they think that the WWE universe is gonna remember the feeling that they had right after
Mhm.
WrestleMania, because I think that feeling is gonna be long gone by then. And it's like, okay, yeah, it happened, but like the initial shock and feeling of it, like, oh yeah, Randy kicked him in the face, and like, you know what I mean? Like, cause remember when Seth and Cody was wrestling, and Cody had his torn pec, right? Like it was crazy in the moment. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
watching him wrestle with his torn pec. I mean, but you look at it now and it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of crazy, but you don't really feel the same feeling you felt in the initial moment
Okay.
when he was wrestling him. So it's like one of those things, you know? So I mean, yeah, I think it's poor execution on my to me anyway.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
I agree too.
Well, that was the main event for night one. A bunch of other matches that actually happened that day. Liv Morgan became the new Women's World Championship, defeating Stephanie Becker.
Yeah,
Gunther defeating Seth Rollins with the return of Braun Breaker. Becky Lynch defeating AJ Lee for the Women's IC title.
that was good.
We had the surprise return of Paige joining Brie Bella, with them winning the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, and Jacob Fatu beating Drew McIntyre in the street fight, or the unsanctioned street fight. And also the opening match, which was LA Knight, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso defeating the trio of Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and ISO Speed, with ISO Speed kind of turning babyface, I guess. But out of the rundown, fellas, what other match stuck out to you night one?
Hey, surprisingly, man, night one, Becky Lynch, dog, Becky Lynch, how she won that. I'm gonna give it to the husband and wife, because look, hey, I thought Seth had that. All right. And then it was at a point where I was like, okay, maybe he's not coming out. And then when I saw Brody come out, man, I was like, okay, the panel got it. They called it, man. I was like, why didn't I remember? I thought Seth had it. So Seth and Becky Lynch, you guys had me going in you guys both matches where I was like, whoa. And how Becky won. That was great. And ISO Speed. You know what? Shout out you and Logan Paul, because it's like he's a streamer too, and he got his way through the WWE through that. And for them to give you a chance to shine, WWE, shout out to y'all. for ISO Speed to go do his thing, being a streamer himself and catching that big splash off the top onto the table, onto the other streamer, Logan Paul. That was pretty cool too. So get an honorable mention for all of that. But Becky Lynch, yeah, that was smooth. Becky, yeah, that was smooth. With Jessica too as your referee, double W's, man, in that match alone. Becky, man.
For me, I want to say the Gunther versus Seth Rollins. That was match of the night for me. I thought that was a really good match. Yeah, with the ending, Braun Breaker coming out, I'm glad he came back. I don't know if he's like medically fully cleared to come back, but hey, just the fact that he was there, fantastic.
He looked fully cleared.
He looked,
Yeah.
he looks fully clear. But
that
hey,
that whole that
At
like
27
that one,
miles per hour now. Coming
Yeah,
down
straight
there.
up, straight
that
up.
ramp
Straight
spear
up.
that he did. Oh my
straight up,
gosh.
straight up. Straight
Yeah,
up,
that was
hey,
something.
hey, straight up. Yeah, he really had to catch himself before he speared Seth, bro. Because I
He
mean,
could
you
have
could
murdered
tell
him.
he
could
would
have
have he
murdered
would
him.
have split him in half, bro. He would
Yeah.
literally would have split him in half. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, the Seth versus Gunther match was really good. I think they made the right call giving Becky the belt. I just, you know what? I know a lot of people are. I've noticed a lot of people online right now are not a fan of Becky and AJ hot potatoing the belt between them two. Um, but I want to say, like, I think them two holding the IC title right now is just giving it legitimacy. I think it's a good idea for them to hold it right now. So by the time Becky like fully gives it up to somebody, I think that belt's gonna hold a lot of weight. Because Becky is really legitimizing that belt. Like it is legit. Not saying that Lyra didn't do a good job, because I think Lyra's run with that belt was excellent. I think she did a good job. I think she was a good inaugural champion. But I think Becky holding it right now, she's the perfect person to hold it and legitimize it. So I thought that was a good match too. And I don't care what anybody says, bro. I know a lot of people are hating on it, but I thought Liv Morgan's entrance was fire. I don't care what anybody else says, bro.
It's
Liv-
WrestleMania.
Bruh.
God.
Yeah, that was
Bro,
big.
there was
Way to
so
do
many, bro. There's so much haters
to
on
do it.
her entrance, bro. I don't care what anybody says. Her entrance was fire.
Yeah.
All you haters can go eat dirt, bro. Her entrance was fire.
Yeah. It's
It was
like
hot. It was hot.
it's one thing to say that, you know, WrestleMania doesn't have enough star power or enough how should I say theatrics to make it feel big. But then when they do stuff like this, it's like, oh, it was too long of an entrance. Oh, I didn't get it. You know, oh, she's trying to be a pop star. Okay. Man, nobody's gonna ever be happy. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I thought it was fine. I thought it was cool. Like can't lie, that song seems to be kind of catchy. It seems to get a little catchier and catchier every single time I hear it. Hate to admit that. But nonetheless, she was trouble. She was trouble for Steph, right? And I think, I know we haven't really talked about this part, right? But I think like there was a lot of criticism here specifically for their match. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to, obviously somebody that like Stephanie Vacker being able to have a really good wrestling match. You know, that match ended up being only like 6 minutes long or something. But I don't think a lot of people consider the fact that they still didn't seem 100%. Liv clearly had a lot of bruising on her face still. From that whole
no amount of
concussion,
makeup could have
right.
hid that, bro. No amount of makeup
Exactly.
could have hid that.
And now
Sure,
we know
wrestling's fake, huh? Wrestling's fake.
It's like now we also know that Stephanie is off TV, right? And my understanding is that it could be injury related as well. So it almost seems like the purpose of them having a shorter match was almost justified here. Clearly, also we had an extended introduction or theme entrance for Liv Morgan for that specific match as well. But I think a lot of times people forget about stuff like that, and whether or not you're into it or whether or not like you're a fan of it, it's something. Again, us fans, there's always going to be some sort of criticism. Nobody's going to be 100% happy with these type of situations. But I think at the end of the day, for me specifically, you know, I was actually really happy to see Paige return. I understand that the day prior, the surprises were kind of like the surprise was already reported that she would be replacing Nikki. And truth be told,
That's why I stayed off the internet, bro. I stayed
for
off
you.
the internet. I
No,
stayed
good
off
for
the
you.
internet.
I can't say it was something I could avoid being there. You know, I was actually at WWE World when the news broke. Not that they announced it there, but you know, obviously the people that were in attendance, they were already kind of talking about that whole situation. Funny thing is, I actually did like a photo op with Bella's. I did catch that Nikki's foot was still in a boot. Which was, you know, I couldn't say at that moment I knew whether or not it was legitimate, but it was kind of telling once the whole Page news was announced that it was that she was going to be replacing Nikki because she wasn't cleared. Now it's interesting because I'll say this: I don't know if you remember, Cuzzo, the last time I actually have seen Page in a wrestling ring, I was at WrestleMania 31. Which happened to be the tag team match with Paige and AJ Lee versus the Bellas. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to see it come full circle in a sense, you know, seeing Paige return back to the WWE and also fittingly being in this, you know, fatal four-way tag matchup, being partners with Brie Bella here, which, you know, she also returned in back in the Royal Rumble also this past year. So I think a lot of nostalgia for me, you know, and I think night one wasn't too bad. You know, shout out to like all the fans that were there in attendance, and you know, like I'm not gonna complain about one thing. I'll tell you guys this because I want to say that I was not expecting to be on the floor. I think it had to do with the low ticket sales. So I think a lot of people that were supposed to be on the floor risers were actually bumped up to the floor to fill up some of the spacing on the
Oh, so did you get
the
pushed
stadium floor.
forward?
I got pushed forward.
Oh,
nice.
I was
nice.
literally on the
Yeah.
floor. So it was not what I had expected based on when I bought the ticket. So I am
Right.
not complaining. Got to run into Zangief that on night one, the guy who plays
Yeah,
Zangief.
you sent the pictures.
Yes. So, you know, it was cool. George Kittle. Hey, George
Yeah.
Kittle. Bang, bang. Cero miedo. And big wrestling
Yeah.
fan. Got to meet him. Gosh. So yeah, like night one was like it was an awesome time for me specifically.
If I can pull
Cuzzo,
up those pictures, I
Andrew
might have to
Wiggins.
post those up
I
on
know,
here,
man.
bro.
You might have to. You might have to. Cuzzo, I don't know if you remember. I did see Andrew Wiggins also out in attendance.
Yeah. Warrior champ. Love that. Love that.
But
Hey,
yeah,
yeah,
like
I
the
seen
stars
you
are out.
sandwiched. You was over there making sandwiches on WrestleMania. Your photos, seen it.
2 nights.
Yeah.
2 days in a row. um
That's
so
cool.
we still got night 2 here, right? Night 2 you know, like right off the cuff, I'm going to just say I think everybody could probably agree to this. Much better night. Much better night between the 2 nights, right? Everybody in agreement with that?
100%.
That's how I kind of sensed it.
Ask that question again.
Did you guys think night 2 was better than night 1?
Night 2 went crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Say no more. Say no more. And I know what you're alluding to here, clearly, right? So night 2, let's obviously talk about it, right? Because
crazy.
there was a lot of action, a lot of hyped matches looking into this second night of WrestleMania. Opening match, Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, with Obafemi taking the dub here. We'll talk about this one in a bit because there's clearly a lot more that had happened after this match got done. The Intercontinental title match for the men's in a ladder match. Penta retaining his title. We got Trick
Right.
Williams defeating Sami Zayn, becoming the new U.S. champ. Finn Balor, Demon Finn came out, defeating Dominic Mysterio in their street fight. Rhea Ripley defeating Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. And, of course, the main event, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, defeating CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, let's talk about the main event here real quick. What do you guys think about this? Did it live up to the hype?
Yes. Yeah. If Roman said he really hate him, he hates Phil. For me, I thought it was just promo, but when, hey man, that guy really like went in there, man. He Hey man, I thought he was crazy because that bang bang, this how the like bang, this how the Niner gang do it. I thought he was crazy because I was just like, whoa, man, I don't think he's playing right now, man. Phil. So Roman really took it to him. So I was like, oh, is Phil okay? Phil, you showed a lot of heart, Phil, but Roman wasn't playing with you.
He went bang bang Niner gang on him, that's for sure.
Yeah, he went bang on the table. He went bang in the ring. He went bang. He went bang. Hey, for real. He went bang him everywhere. That's yeah, Roman, man. Gosh.
So while I was watching the match, I couldn't help but notice the parallels to Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. This was
Ooh.
yeah. So and the only reason I pull this up is because Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, and I'm specifically talking about the second match. The second Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker has to be one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. And it's the storytelling in that match itself is fantastic. And for those who don't remember that match or was too young to remember that match, the ending of that match, or heading towards the end of that match, is basically Shawn Michaels is gassing out. He's showing his, I don't want to say age is not the word, but I guess he's just his stamina's running out. He's not able to keep up. And Taker's basically just standing over him, being super dominant. And like same thing that CM Punk was doing. He's kind of like grabbing onto him, crawling up on him while Taker's looking down on him. And then, you know, Roman kind of did what Undertaker did, was put him out of his misery. You know what I mean? Kind of in the same fashion. So I kind of saw the parallels to that match, and it was kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it. It was a good overall match. I thought it was really good, way better than night one's main event. And I was glad to see the tribal chief back on top. But CM Punk, I still got love for you, but the tribal chief back on top.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought specifically being there live, you could see and hear how big the feel of this match was. Even from the get-go with the introductions, Roman, he had his pianist, right, on the stage doing their thing, kind of getting us ready for it. And then next thing you know, right, comes out with the original OTC theme song.
That's how I knew he was gonna win.
So it was almost
that's
like,
how I knew.
Oh shit. We're getting the original tribal chief, the real tribal chief here, right? So it's almost like you already felt the importance of how big this match is gonna be. And then for a lot of people being casual fans, right? Me being one of them. I'm gonna admit that, me being one of them. That song in CM Punk's intro, right? I can't say I remember the name of it, but it was a callback to his Ring of Honor days, right? So when that hit, not me, I'm not saying me because I didn't know, right? But you could hear the crowd in Vegas when that song hit, just the people singing it, like clearly the hardcore diehard Punk fans were so lit
Was it
when
This
that
Fire
played.
Burns?
No, it wasn't that. It's his Ring of Honor theme song. And he's done it in AAW once. But it was playing in the very beginning before he came out to his Cult of Personality. So it was kind of like, it almost felt like
It showed the real too. While they were playing that,
his hardcores, the hardcore CM Punk fans would know.
back in the day.
It was a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
It was a good
Oh
one.
God, what is the name? We got to look up the name. But anyways, it was wild. It was wild. You just could feel it in the stadium. That doesn't, and the match didn't even start yet. So you could just tell like this is a big fight feel. Obviously, great match. I think it went on for nearly 30 minutes. And you could just follow these guys nicely paced. They weren't gonna give you a lot of high flying spots, but hey, they did it in their own way, right? The fact that Punk hit that top rope, top turnbuckle spot onto the outside table was that I was like, wow, I didn't know he was gonna hit it. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
Hey, but
that was pretty cool.
To your point, Iron Man, how they were like showcasing how this old man dude is like doing this with so much heart. That top
Not
row
too
when he
bad for
jumped
old
off.
man, right?
Not too
Not
bad.
too bad for old
at
man.
all.
Bad, Phil.
And what's crazy
Yeah.
is that like Phil's not CM Punk's not that old in comparison to like some of the other like legends, bro, that they have on contract. Like some of these guys hold on forever, bro. It's crazy. I mean, CM Punk's not that old. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's older compared to some
He's a
of the
vet.
guys. He's definitely
He's a
a
vet.
vet. He's
no Ron
definitely a
Cena.
vet. He's definitely
Yeah.
no Ron
Because
Cena.
Ron Cena's still doing it over
Yeah.
there.
Bro,
That's-
Yeah,
Ron
Ron
Cena-
Cena's
Ron
found the
Cena's
fountain of the
prime.
youth. He's found the fountain of youth.
Bro,
He's gonna be
Ron
there
Cena's
for
prime.
30 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it was a great match. It was a great match. I just feel like, and let's kind of step aside here for a second. Like, if we're going to compare night 1 and night 2's main events, right? How much involvement did we see with outsiders for this match that may not have had the depth of storytelling compared to Randy and Cody?
Yeah,
Let alone they had outsiders involved with their match.
that's a great point.
And it's not to say that Randy and Cody are less big, like less of a star, like lesser tier of a star as Punk and Roman. Like, I think they're up there as much as we could really think about them being up there, right? They're clearly they're wrestlers that are clearly going to be on Mount Rushmores for a lot of fans, right? In their own right. And what says a lot here is that they relied so much, and sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. And you just have to trust. It almost seems like you had not enough trust with Randy and Cody to sell their fight as opposed to Roman and CM Punk, which is unfortunate.
You know what I think it is? I think and I know Cody is capable of going there, but I think it's a mixture of WWE and Cody not willing to risk his squeaky clean like baby face, him being the quarterback
QB1.
of WWE. Right. Both of them not willing to risk his status as a top baby face of the company. And part of it is, and Roman said it, right? It's not the title who makes the man, it's the man who makes the title. And that's so true. Because you could feel the importance of the title that they were fighting for, because for the longest time, the title that Roman and CM Punk were fighting for was classified as the second-rate title, right?
True.
Right. That
True.
was a second-rate title because Roman
True.
always had the other title, and Roman's title was always the first-rate title, and that was the title on SmackDown. Now you have the title that Roman has currently, and that's not the one that's on SmackDown. It's the one that's on Raw, and that's considered the first-rate title because that's the one that Roman has, and it's Roman or CM Punk making that title the first-class title, right? And I think, like I said, I think it's a combination of like WWE and CM Punk, not CM Punk, WWE and Cody not willing to like tarnish that character that Cody has, which maybe in turn couldn't let Randy Orton go too deep into his Viper character. Maybe that's part of the reason he couldn't go so deep. Because if you look at how Roman and CM Punk went after each other, I mean, they went balls out.
Yeah.
There was like they left everything on the table, and I mean, to the point is that you kind of wonder if maybe some of that was
real.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
kind of
like-
wonder. You kind of wonder.
You never know.
You kind of
You
wonder.
never know.
You kind of
You're not
wonder.
gonna beat the allegations,
Yeah.
Roman.
You
You
kind
hate
of
him, for
wonder.
real.
You know what I mean?
But-
And that's the bet. And honestly, I mean, I'll let you talk. But it's just
No,
you kind of wonder, right? You kind of wonder, and that's the best part, and that's the best ones to watch. That's the ones that get you excited the most. That's the ones that make you want to watch the match and see who wins. It's the ones that you kind of wonder. Was
This
it?
is real.
Yeah,
This is
is
legit
it?
heat.
Is there a little bit of beef in it? Like we know,
They're not kayfabing any of this.
right?
Yeah, you can't. Like, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least, yeah,
And
you guys are right. It had me thinking, like, wait, hold up, was that just a promo?
Right,
Or we really
know
living like this?
we know a lot of it is promoted, and we know a lot of it is written. You know what I mean? But like, was certain things in there like kind of crossing the line, like habitual line stepping, and honestly, like that's kind of the best ones. You know what I mean? It's just you kind of wonder. It makes you wonder. Was it kind of real? At the end of the day, can they shake each other's hands, or are they just like being cordial because they work together and they know they can draw money and that's about it? You know what I mean? That's the best
Yeah.
ones, honestly.
Right. Well, I'll say this, right? I think when you look at just how the magnitude of Roman Punk, just the names that clearly headline night 2 versus Cody and Randy on night 1, it's like if we were to swap it around, I almost feel like we could have probably felt the same way. And this is the interesting part, though, Nick. With Cody specifically, I feel like they have a clear example and as to why they shouldn't feel scared to just keep him as the babyface, regardless if the fans are not really buying into it and they may be suffering from Cody fatigue, right? John Cena was the perfect example. Roman Reigns, big dog Roman Reigns, perfect example. So no matter how much WWE put these guys in front of our faces, to even a degree of shoving them down our throats, to accept them as the good guys, the baby faces of the company, we still respected them, and they seems to me they did pretty fine on their end.
Honestly,
You know?
I'm kind of ready for Cody to muddy that line. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't exactly have to be a bad guy, but I'm ready for him to kind of muddy that line a little bit.
Yeah.
And with the whole CM Punk saying that a title shot may just fall out of the air, and then Cody basically just shot him the opportunity, which means we're probably going to see CM Punk on SmackDown sooner than later. That's the perfect time to muddy the waters. You know what I mean? You're going to have someone coming at you who is probably hands down one of the best guys on the mic. And if you can't keep up with him, it's going to show. Like CM Punk will bury you. And that's the perfect time for Cody to just muddy the waters a little bit. You know what I mean? Let Cody just deviate a little bit. I think, honestly, I don't think he should be afraid. I don't think WWE should be afraid of it. I think they should let Cody muddy the waters a little bit. I think he'll be fine. I think the fans will actually enjoy Cody kind of like, just dabbling in a little bit of the anti-hero side. Doesn't have to be full anti-hero. It can still be the babyface. Let him muddy the waters a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not even opposed to him going full heel. I'll be honest.
Neither am I. Neither am I.
Like I'm cool with it. Like I believe he'll still sell the merch. There's gonna still be Cody fandom out there.
Bro, I'm telling you.
You might even get more Cody fandom because of him going heel.
Homelander Cody would sell so much merch. It's crazy.
It won't be for the kids. It will be more for the adults.
Adults.
But yeah, no, I think that's the thing with WWE. I feel like, and even more so now with TKO being at the helm, it's almost like they want to force you to feel a certain way. And it's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. It's clearly happening here again. And, I think with the way night 2 ended, it did probably give us some sort of hope. Like, oh, they're still kind of listening to us. They're still kind of appeasing to the fan base, right? As opposed to night 1 feeling like, yeah, this was so TKO, and they just really advertised the heck out of this with ads and long entrances, short matches. It doesn't feel right. So it's like, at the end of the day, when you kind of really look at the direction of where this company's headed, we don't know. We really don't know what the intent's going to be, how long TKO is going to be in charge. I know that Triple H has recently signed a new contract with them, right? And he's supposed to be the head of creative. So who's to say like that's not going to obviously impact the way things pan out down the line. But the other interesting part of night 2, right? Need I say, the opening match. Oba. Oba. Oba.
Yeah.
Oba and Brock Lesnar. Like, may I speak for the panel here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably everybody's favorite match, night 2.
You damn right.
And one of them, but yes.
One of them. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But
yes,
like,
shout out, Brock.
I think this truly lived up to all the hype.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what? I don't think anybody expected this to be like a 15-20 minute banger. 5 stars. We knew this was gonna be short, sweet, straight to the point. One going over the other, but really bringing it to live up to the hype. And again, this is the other part I'll point out about this. Less is more. Less is more, right? There's a lesson to be learned here, guys.
In this case, absolutely less was more.
Yeah, less was so much more here because you just felt like these guys came out with so much aura. So much aura. And just the mannerisms and just like the stature of them walking to the ring. Obviously, Brock Lesnar with his pyro, his theme song. We all know what it is. Walking down with Paul Heyman, the introduction. We just know that that's what to expect with Brock Lesnar. Oba, on the other hand, his entrance, the whole crowd. It's again like need I say it's probably the modern day version of the Goldberg chant, right? When Goldberg was doing his streak, right? Everybody was already chanting his name. Goldberg, right out of the locker room, right? All the way to the front of the stage and to the pyro. No different here. It's like we're experiencing the same exact thing with Oba Femi, right? But in his own right, he's clearly doing it his way, and he's clearly being, he's the guy now, right? I think it's almost telling that the match was a passing of the guard from the beast to the ruler. So we definitely saw a transition here, but the one thing I say we did not expect, I don't know if you guys expected this, but Brock Lesnar calling it a career, leaving his boots and his gloves in the middle of the ring, throwing the X. And a lot of people don't know what the X means. That's when it's like, this is off script. They pretty much are letting you know this is real. And he shared that hug with Paul Heyman in the middle of the ring, and it was quite telling. He was calling it. He hanging up his boots and whatnot. What you guys think?
Man, you know what? Like, this was my favorite match, bro. This was my most anticipated match. And just from the jump, I just I enjoyed every aspect of it. This is exactly what I had hoped from this match. Um Oba looked fantastic. It wasn't a total squash match, which I was hoping it wasn't. I didn't want it to be a squash match. I wanted Brock to get in his lick because I didn't want Oba to look absolutely dominant. I wanted Brock to get in his licks. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want Oba to look dominant, but I still want him to look beatable. You know what I mean? But he needs to look strong. And Brock, being Brock, did just that. He hit him just enough, but he still made Oba look extremely strong. And it was just a fantastic match. It was just what it needed to be.
Mm.
And it was just, you know what I mean? And then when Oba was leaving the ring, he did the hat tip. And I was like, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. And I remember I was watching it with Jay. And then the camera was still on Brock in the ring. And I was like, the camera's on Brock for kind of a while. This is kind of odd. And then you see Brock sitting there. And I was like, shit, Jay, bro, I think Brock's retiring. And he's like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, dude, the camera's been on Brock for a while. Like, he's just sitting there. We're not cutting to a break, not cutting to a commercial. We're not cutting to like a promo package of the next match, nothing. And like, it's kind of quiet. Like nothing's going on. There's nothing. And Brock's just sitting there. And it's kind of weird. I think Brock's about to retire. And then all of a sudden, like you see Brock looking around, like he starts taking off his laces. He starts crying. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm not going to lie. Like it got me all in my feels because I was like, shit, it's Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's kind of an end of an era because there's only one Brock Lesnar, dude. I mean, there is no Brock Lesnar other than him. You can't carbon copy that. There's no way. And then, it was one of those things. I think the whole retirement thing, I think at the moment, and maybe in the future, it may be used as a storyline, but currently I think the whole leaving your boots in the middle of the ring is still a little bit too sacred to be used as a storyline. So I know there was some people saying that maybe this was a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I feel like this was Brock going out on his terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he put a wrench in some of the back end's plans. Like maybe they had meant for him to go out a different way, maybe bolstering Gunther's resume with another legend that he's taken out. But I think Brock had other plans, and I'm sure that there were certain people, and I'm sure Triple H was one of them, because there's no way that they would have had just the cameras sitting on him and doing the whole him retiring with the cameras on him, right? I'm sure that wouldn't have happened if there weren't certain people in the know that he was going to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure not a lot of people at all in the back had known, and that had put a wrench in a lot of people's plans for him that were in the back. But I'm sure that was him going out on his terms. And I'm glad that's how he went out, that he went out giving his all, looking in fantastic shape. And this is another thing that I'm glad a lot of wrestlers are doing, that they're going out in fantastic shape. They're going out in a still like relatively not beat up state. Like they still look pretty good. Like, they still have meat on the bone and they still have a lot to give. But they're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm walking away. I did what I had to do in my career. I have nothing left to prove. I'm done. I can still go, but I don't have to. I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm a fan of that. I'm actually a fan of that. Brock looks fantastic. He's done. I was a fan of how he went out. That was a real good passing of the torch. I love it. I thought it was a great match. Congratulations, Oba. The ruler. The mountain that you cannot climb. And congratulations, Brock, on your retirement. Man, you the man, bro. That's all I got to say about that.
Watch him show up at SummerSlam.
Hey, bro, you know what? It would be Brock Lesnar. It would be Brock Lesnar to be like, nah, you know what? Fuck that. It would be Brock to say, just kidding.
Hey, if he still got it, man, I don't know why he had to retire. But like, I agree. When he took those shoes off, I was like, okay, yeah, he's gonna announce something, man. And hey, ain't no better than to see the next big mountain than to see Oba go against Brock. So yeah, I agree with everything Iron Man said, man. Way to usher him in. There's no one bigger than the Beast. And now that's a big old mountain to climb, man. I mean, didn't you guys I think they rushed it because it's like, who else? If he's over there beating Brock Lesnar, like, there's no way. Who else? You're just gonna put him against somebody and you're just gonna watch him pin in 1, 2, 3. The ruler,
Right.
man. And I guess the ruler, I don't know if they saw that dude, Ricky Saints, he's in there, and back in NXT, I guess it was him, the ruler, and Ricky Saints over there before the ruler came over. But that was a good one, man, and I agree with it. Not being what is it, a squash match, dude? They went at it. And hey, Brock, man, I thought you were just gonna usher him in and keep going on the tear, because that's pretty good, man. You still got it, dude. The ruler ain't no joke, boy. And for you to go head up over there, you look good. If you are gonna come back at SummerSlam, I get it. If that was picking at your ego, like, you know what? Maybe I did that prematurely or something. I just want to come back and take somebody else to Suplex City real quick and then come on back. But that was a great pop off of Sunday. That was a great pop off of Sunday, actually, man. And that retirement caught me off guard because you could still keep going. But if you want to retire on your own terms and in your prime, hey, you're gonna enjoy retirement for real, man. You are.
You know who I want to see? Obafemi have a good, nice, long program with? When he comes back and after he establishes himself again. So I don't want to see it right off the rip when he comes back. I want him to come back, establish himself first, and then have a program with him. So I want to see Obafemi versus Bronson Reed. Those are the two guys I want to see collide.
Yeah. And he coming back too. Brunson Reed's there, supposedly.
Yeah. No,
Well, you know
see
what?
that happen.
Oba
I
and
can see that
Jacob.
happen.
If it ever don't work out, Oba and Jacob, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw, but like post the WrestleMania post show, Oba's already calling out the OTC.
I did. I saw that.
If we were talking like who's bigger than Brock at this point, you got to go for the OTC, right? So who knows? Not saying that's going to happen soon, but
Snap.
that's eventually going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Any other notable matches night 2? Like
I'll say
like
yeah, the IC, Hey, you know what?
Okay.
He didn't win, but JD McDonough, you know what, man?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I did not know too much of you, but when I got introduced to you, you got taken out because you did a crazy move and hit the back of your neck on the table, on the outside table. And look at you going at this IC ladder match. You had a lot of spots. You could have got it. Bro, man, you are dangerous, McDonough. You're a biological. I don't know what you are, man. You just God, that was a crazy match, bro. And then that dude, Finn Balor, okay, Demon. I'm not too familiar of you, but I did. I thought, knowing that Dominic Mysterio is familiar with you, I would have thought he would have turned up his dirty and did you more dirty, but no, you are a demon. The way you popped up at the end like one, oh Lord. So hey, what a great introduction. Like I was like, wow, look at you go, demon. That was crazy too, dude. The demon, boy.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna say that the Intercontinental Championship match, hands down, that was a fantastic match.
Okay.
I will say by the end of that match, I managed to convert Jay into a JD McDonough fan.
JD
'Cause hey,
McDonough.
Really?
remember, I called JD McDonough for the win, right?
Right.
Dude, JD McDonough did so
JD.
good during that match.
Yeah.
Even though Penta won, and you know what, Penta deserved all the win in that match. He did so good. The match overall was a fantastic match, but JD, dude, JD was so good in that match.
Yeah.
You know who
JD went
else? You
crazy.
know who else actually did not that bad? Was the best luchador in the game, Rusev. He did
Bro,
not
Rusev
bad.
was killing it.
He did not
Bro,
bad. He didn't do too bad.
Rusev was saving, like, dude, so there was a couple of them
Rusev
that
Day.
could have
Bro,
pulled it off
Rusev
and
Day.
became a champion.
Bro,
Rusev came,
Rusev,
dude.
Rusev saved the
Yeah,
Javon Evans
Penta, you
spot.
better thank Rusev, man, because
Rusev
Rusev, dude.
saved the Javon Evans spot, bro.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely the other match I was looking forward to. Crazy to think that both of them, the Obafemi Brock Lesnar match and this ladder match opened up night 2. I get it; they're putting it on ESPN for the first hour, but yeah, like I think I've said this last podcast, right? I've always been a fan of Penta's style. And again, it goes back to his, lucha days back in Lucha Underground, even like back in New Japan, AEW. The spots that he does with like these ladders and like these gimmick matches, it's just a thing to see. Like it's a beauty, a thing of beauty. And I think this was again another piece of what I would say is why I'm such a fan for him. Granted, he is also a Niner fan, so what can I say? I did choose him, so I'm very happy about that. Him winning and retaining, but great coming out. I would say great coming out for him because he's. I want to say it's almost been a year now since he's been with WWE. I think his it's been kind of like ebbs and flows in terms of his his popularity, and clearly he's always been like a top merch seller, and interesting enough, right? Since they put the IC title on him, it's almost been like he's just been at the forefront again, and I'm very happy for him. Clearly the success he's continued to garner over his tenure here with WWE. So I continue to hope for the best. What do you guys think? Trick Willie, United States champion,
Yeah.
right call?
Hey, you was there though. How did it feel? Like, how did it feel when he popped out? Like, who got the bigger pop? Which one is it? The Yeet or the Trick Willie? Because I was like,
Trick Willie all day. Yeah, Trick Willie all day. Like it's crazy because like at some point I want to say like way back then, we were talking about how these two guys, specifically Jey Uso and Trick Williams, right, have such a catchy theme song, and it clearly gets the crowd into it. Clearly, and I want to say at the very beginnings of the Yeet movement, that kind of like took off, very similar to like the Yes movement. But lately, it just seems as Trick Willie's theme song, and every time he comes out, you hear the trumpets. It's like, whoop that trick, whoop that trick.
What?
It just, you know, how can you not do it?
Yeah,
How can
for
you
real.
not do it?
Yeah, how can you not?
So yeah, so
Yeah,
everybody
true.
was in. Yeah, definitely Trick Williams, like too. Like he definitely had the crowd going.
With his
Um,
longs receipt, trailing
I thought it
him.
was a toilet paper roll. Like I thought he just stepped on a toilet paper roll and it was still stuck to his shoe. Like
Ah,
I'm. That was kind of wild. Like, cause like
that was
as long as
wild.
that
That was
wrap is,
crazy, bro.
I'm like,
That was
dude, that's a
wild.
lot of
The
fabric right there.
receipts. Get the receipt.
It was the receipt, right? The CVS receipt all the way down the ramp. Dude. No, but yeah, I think again, night two, obviously it delivered like more so in my opinion than night one. Um yeah, overall, I think it was a great event for me, just because I was there present. Um I like I know there's been criticism about the commercials and whatnot, but from my point of view, being in attendance, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think the only upside to that being part of the whole night is that I didn't get to miss any action. I felt like I had reasonable time going to the restroom because I know with past manias, I've had trouble finding when I could leave and not miss a piece of anyone's entrance or even a match for that matter. It seemed like the timing was so spread out where I could just go real quick and then come back to my seat and not miss a thing. It may sound very minute, but trust me, like when you pay for tickets and you're at a live event, you do not want to miss any action. You do not want to miss on anything that happens, right? And we're like when you're in a stadium for that matter, like you're like not just going from your seat to the restroom, you're also trying to fight lines as well. So that's the other part of it. So I I'm personally gonna say I was grateful for it, although it might be a different story on the flip side of people watching it on TV. But hey, that's just me being honest.
Oh, that's good. I mean, at least you guys had time to use the bathroom, and I get that. I get the wanting to make sure you see everything, especially with live, right? Because those tickets are not cheap.
Mhm. Hey, and I got to meet people.
Hell yeah.
I got to meet
Oh,
people in that
Lord.
tunnel. That tunnel going there. Met Lyra
Yeah.
Valkyria. I also met Ivy
What's her name?
Nile.
Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah. Rob Van Dam. Gosh,
Yeah.
man.
Legend.
Yeah, I met Psycho Sid's son.
All right.
Dude, so yeah, they're all in that tunnel. So it was like,
That's
hey, you
so
know what?
cool.
It's almost like two birds with one stone there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So outside of that, guys, the unfortunate part every time we end WrestleMania season, it always seems to be that I don't want to call it Black Monday or Black Friday. It seems like it just like happens. It does actually happen on a Friday, the Friday after WrestleMania, where there are some releases, right? So no different this year. Unfortunately, we had a lot of different wrestlers released. I think the most notable ones specifically from that week was the Wyatt Six, pretty much everyone in the Wyatt Six. Also Kyrie Sane, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, uh, the Motor City Machine Guns, um, also Santo Escobar, Apollo Cruz, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, and Andre Chase. And then also from NXT Development, Luca Crucifino, Malik Blade, Trill London, Serena Linton, Tari May Steele, who was the season one winner of LFG for the
That's
women's
wild.
LFG. Right. Chris Island, Tariq Igwe, and Tyson DuPont. And just recently, to add to that list, we learned also Tongaloa and JC Mateo were also part of the group of releases here. And the unforeseen one, the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. From my understanding, their situation was that their contract was looking to get restructured and they were not happy with the terms, so they asked for the release. Therefore, they're no longer with the WWE. So I don't know how you guys feel, or I guess simply putting it out there. Which one was the biggest surprise for you guys?
Oh, go ahead, Iron Man. Oh, I got one. Y6 for me. Because they
Why
did great
six?
with the MFTs. They did that whole storyline. They stole the lantern. They even let it play out. I thought they were gonna carry this into a war game, something. But so that was one of them, man. And that was one of them because it was like you did your job and delivered on these storylines, these matches, and then only to be cut out at the end. But of course, there's always a behind the scene reason type stuff. It could be money, it could be any type of factor. But I was surprised because they did so well, man. Man, that was a good one. I'm glad they let that play out, but I hate that they got released. Like just off the bat, why is six? Because of that reason right there. Man.
For me, it was JC Mateo and Tangaloa.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see why they would be let go. I feel like there's still a lot of things that they could have done because I feel like the MFTs are still kind of relevant. Um, Especially with Solo's pretty hot. I feel like Solo's pretty
Yeah.
hot. Um, and there's a lot that could be done with the MFTs.
Yeah. And
Um,
JC was wrestling too. He was on TV.
I
Like,
know, and JC just came to WWE.
yeah.
I don't think they gave him enough time to simmer. They
Mhm.
just, and sometimes I wonder if it was a mistake putting him with Solo. Maybe if they just put him as a solo act. I don't know. It's too late now, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. I think that they didn't give him enough time to simmer. It's only been a year, so and how can we forget Tangaloa, the king of the botches? You know what I mean? Like, man, how can we let that guy go, dude? Like, I mean, and
Not enough botches. After all the botches, he still retained his employment with WWE, but he's been actually much better.
that's what I'm saying. And like, I don't know. I feel like the MFTs had so much more to give as a group. That it felt weird to me that they would get rid of specifically those two guys and split up the team. Um, I don't know. To me, it feels kind of weird. I feel like they're getting rid of two guys because they're making room for other people, specifically for Jacob's storyline.
Too many polys. They need to make room. They just
Right.
got too many polys. They need
Right.
to make
And
room.
I'm not honestly I'm not a fan of that. And
No.
that's what sparked that whole discussion, right, Jojo, about like the whole making it feel like a sports team. They're TKO treating it more like a sports team than wrestling. And that they're just trimming the fat and that they're just kind of like cutting people when they see fit. And I don't know. It's not that I get it. Yeah, you're a business, but I'm not a fan of like not giving you guys time to simmer. This is not
Mhm.
this is not a typical type of sports business. You have to give you have to give your talent time to grow because they're in the business of telling stories, right? This is not like football where you have to see instant results. You know what I mean? Like and if they're not producing results, then trade them away or basketball or you know what I mean, where you
Right,
can
right.
follow where you can follow stats because in wrestling, in professional wrestling, nobody gives a shit about stats. Stats don't count. But like the whole telling of the stories and all that stuff, that's kind of a lot of that is where it counts. And I don't think they gave a lot of these guys enough time to simmer. A lot of the other one, I feel like I'm not really a fan of that they let go. And sure, they weren't doing too much with her. But the reason I'm not a fan of them letting her go is because this correlates to somebody else is Alba Fire.
Yeah,
I'm not a
same.
f- I'm not a fan of letting Alba Fire go because I've seen what they did with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green is now attached to the hip of Tiffany Stratton. I'm not a fan of that at all. And if they're if they're gonna push Chelsea Green down now that like she doesn't have the secret harvest, and like they're just gonna like push her to the wayside to make room for everybody else. Like I'm not a fan of that. Like
Mm.
I've been pushing for Chelsea Green for like the longest time, and I know everybody here is a fan of
Right.
Chelsea Green. I'm
Hell
just
yeah.
and I can see it already. I can see it. I can see what they're doing already. They're literally pushing Chelsea Green out of the way to make room for everybody else. And I'm not a fan of that. I think Chelsea is due her time. Like she's due for something bigger already.
Mhm.
Like but with like guys like I mean, we've already seen it on Unreal, right? Like she's never gonna hit anything bigger already. With guys like Michael Hayes, who's like, oh yeah, she's not meant to be one of the bigger talents and all that stuff, which kind of sucks because Chelsea
I
Green is
disagree.
she's such an engaging, like not as like a person, but I mean, yeah, as a person, but like, her character is so engaging. She's fun to watch on TV. She's a great wrestler. She's
Mhm.
willing to go the extra mile to do anything to make you want to watch her while she's in the ring. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's kind of like the thing you want to watch when you're watching wrestling. But it's just like because she's not a bombshell blonde, then all of a sudden these guys in the back are like thinking, okay, well, she's not gonna be the world champ, and that's what irritates
Yeah.
me, bro. I mean, that's just me kind of like thinking out loud, but it's just I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of them letting go to Alba Fire because it indirectly affects Chelsea Green.
Dog, I agree with that, dude. It's like now that you put it out there, Iron Man, I'm like, wait, what are you gonna do with Chelsea Green? Because Alba Fire could stand next to her. Hey, shout out Piper. I know you got hurt. That's why you got off the TV, man. Damn. But yeah, Alba Fire, man, that part. I was like, what you gonna do with Chelsea now that you took Alba away, bro? Like, I guess they're gonna intertwine her with Tippy's time. Huh. Shoot. Like
Yeah.
that part.
I don't know how to feel about that. But I will say for me, the whole Kyrie Sane release.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think a lot of people share the same sentiment here because of the storyline that she was involved with Asuka and Io, specifically looking for a big payoff there, which we're not gonna get anymore, right? So I think before that though, before that, I'm sorry, before we knew that the New Day was also released, to me that was the big one, right? Kyrie Sane. But then I don't know how much truth there is to it, you know, hearing that she had plans to wanting to move back to Japan and whatnot, and how that may have played into this whole situation. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the other part of it with the New Day, right? The New Day, I think we thought they potentially were going to be lifers. I think they were clearly, you know, legendary tag team for WWE and just pro wrestling in general. You know, they had established themselves, I would say, to being almost like the veterans that could always be fit into anything at any point, and also granted the credentials they've had as a tag team. Kofi obviously going on his little Kofi Mania run, being a world champion as well. Xavier having his run as the King of the Ring, you know, and him also doing a lot of like external, like I would say ventures specifically with the up down down community. So that one was a big shocker, but again, it just kind of plays into the whole what the TKO, you know, what TKO intends to do moving forward. I think, to be quite honest, it does come down to they're not going to pay a lot for talent that is not a return of their investment. Specifically, if you're older, you will need to be on the level of like a Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and so forth, right? To stay employed there. Or if you're not older, you need to be younger. I think they're clearly inclined to building newer talent and that are as much younger, whether they come from next in line or whether they come from the indies. They're prioritizing younger developing talent. And a lot of the other part of it too is because they're so sports affiliated now that I think the whole next in line component to WWE is a big part of them creating homegrown talent, specifically those that are crossing over from collegiate sports. To say that hasn't been successful, well, Tiffany Stratton, let me just throw that name out there, Braun Breaker, Oba Femi, Bianca Belair. Yeah, you talk about those names. Those names are more relevant than ever in today's landscape of WWE, right? So I'm sure I'm missing names, but those are clearly some of the top ones. I know Cuzzo over there pointing at Soruka, so
Hey, who debuts tomorrow on Raw, by the way? Who debuts tomorrow on
Yeah.
Raw? Tune
well,
in.
she
tune in.
didn't she technically debut against Liv?
Oh yeah, that's right. But
Yeah, she did.
officially inked.
Yeah.
Officially inked though.
Yeah,
Officially inked
Right.
tomorrow.
okay. But yeah, it's just one of those things, right? We all know it's a business, whether we agree with it or not. The unfortunate part is because they do have to make room for a new talent, right? And we see a lot of that new talent coming up from NXT. It seems like they're less inclined to really debut a lot of like outside talent at this point. They're like clearly to just bring people up from NXT and their pipeline of in homegrown stars, so to speak. So I think WWE specifically on the Raw side, they brought up Joe Hendry, Soruka. Who am I missing here? Who also debuted on Raw? Oh, Ethan Page.
Ethan Page, he finally came
Ethan
up.
Page. Yeah, he's finally up. Kind of happy about
like
that
him.
move.
Yeah.
And then
Same here.
Especially, yeah. With Bouncy. Ooh. Tie him in with Bouncy, the young OG, carry their storyline. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then SmackDown, we know that we got Ricky Saints, Blake Monroe, and
Fatal Influence.
the Fatal Influence crew.
Yeah.
Fatal Influence making a big splash on SmackDown, huh?
Especially Laney Reed. We know the other two was going to do it, but Laney Reed, you're doing good.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely got hopes for them, all of them. But at the same time, like I do feel for the rest of them. Obviously, as a community, we don't like seeing people lose their jobs, right? And we just hope that everybody kind of bounces back, finds their way into some other promotion or some other venture, whatever they do, and they continue their success. Yeah. Hate to end it on that type of note, but we just had our friends here from Island Pro Wrestling, and we definitely want to give them a shout out, Justin, and also Sage Scott, aka Mr. One from day one, or A1 since day one, the Trillmonger. He's about to make his IPW debut. So for all of our viewers and subscribers out there, definitely tune in. It's on May 16th. They are going to be featuring this is that on YouTube and Facebook, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep, they should have it on YouTube and Facebook.
On those
YouTube and Facebook.
platforms.
Yep. So Island Pro Wrestling's Game On Island Rumble. They are doing, my understanding, their first 25-man Rumble and having the debut of the Trillmonger, Sage Scott. So, tune into that. They're definitely friends of the podcast, and we're looking forward to that event. Hoping for the best for all of them. But at the same time, gentlemen, thank you again for being part of the panel. As always, we just wrapped up a WrestleMania season, going into another year. So, otherwise, we out.
We out on the next one.
Oh.